Hey, good morning, everybody. It's just about 9 o'clock. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. And I thought I'd come on and we do a little bit of live stuff here before the open and go over some stuff. For everybody in my service, I did the morning setups video today. And honestly, this is tough. What do I say here? What do I tell you guys to do? So the only thing I can do is we can look at this with our eyes. I did a nice video for you guys last night on the state of the markets. So when we look at everything, first off, very strange stuff going on. Look at the VIX. We got no data coming in on Thinkorswim on the VIX here. This is not what we want to see here. This is kind of scary. That means that there's holes here. Right? Very little data coming in. We have a situation right now where things are not well, and I'm looking around at other products. We're getting similar type feeds here. So there's something going on out there that they're trying to figure out. So we look at this and say, okay, so let's go to the ES. All right, the ES right now, we've had a wild overnight ride, right? Here's where we closed. We've stayed flat through most of the E until like after 8, dumped all the way down to the 200-day on the ES, bounced back to green, dumped another 70 points, and now we're starting to come off the lows again, okay? At some point, cooler heads are going to prevail, and they're going to come by this market, and they're going to get a very tradable low. Is that here today, now? I don't know. Anybody says they know, you can say, well, I hope you're right. I will tell you this is a good place to try to bounce off of. We're extremely oversold on all time frames now. We are very extended to the downside off the 8-day, off the moving averages, right? So there's a lot of very good reasons to bounce down here, except we have panic mode. And panic mode begets more panic. And, you can throw everything technical that we do out the window when you see something like this. And if you've never seen something like this before, sit back, stay out of the way, and be careful. All right, so let's talk about what else is going to happen here. When we open this morning, XIV here is halted. We have a bunch of people trapped in this and in SVXY. Okay, these are the VIX inverse volatility ETFs. Good morning, Chris. By the way, you guys can chat with me and ask questions. Last night, after hours, they liquidated these. They are now closed and there's people trapped. And at 9:40 this morning, if your account's red, you're going to see margin calls go out on these things. So we could see a flush. I'm not saying we will. We could see a flush depending upon how many people are trapped in this and their accounts get liquidated to get out of this here. So just put that in your head. Just be aware of that that's a possibility here. Not saying it's going to happen. It could, right? I don't know what's going to happen. Normally, I would say these were names I would look to play here for that. In fact, last night I was thinking about buying some, and I'm glad I didn't. All right. So this is where we're at, right? We have a little bounce coming in here. We're trying to hold this area on the, again, let's stay with the ES because, we're getting updates real time. Come on. There we go. All right. Trying to hold. So right now we're back above yesterday's close, right? That's all we know. This would be a big reversal candle if this holds. This would be exactly what we want to look for, right? Do we get a V bounce? Do we come up and down as fast as we went down? I don't know what we have that's going to happen from here. I do know what the option flow is going to look like. So people in my service, you'll see the difference. You'll usually see put sellers, big put sellers coming in. They're going to take advantage of these jacked up premiums and they're going to sell puts to call a bottom. Be careful with calls. If you're going to trade calls, you need to look to trade in the money or at the money. Out of the money calls may or may not work depending upon how fast we get IV crush, and you're going to have to look at options for that. Okay? I would not be pressing shorts down here at this point, other than scalping in either direction. You try to, press a short down this far, you're asking to get hurt. For me, if we bounce, we bounce up towards the 50-day and the 8-day and see what happens when we get there. Right, that would be the end through place where we'd look at there at that point. What else can we see here as we're looking around? Go out there. There's things you can play with. If you want to, you can try things like SSO. SSO is the ProShares S&P 500 2 times leveraged ETF. If you think we're going to bounce, you can grab some of this for a bounce up, just for a day trade, right? SSO, there's UPRO. It's another name you can play on these things, right? If you want to play with something with just a little bit more, so you're getting a little bit of leverage like that options without taking the options risk. It's what is it? Is it TNA and TZA on the IWM? Yep, TNA on the IWM. Another name you can look at here. Priyank, yeah, Priyank. So what's going on here is look at the VIX. So you're asking, Priyank's asking why we should buy money in the money calls or at the money calls and out of the money. The VIX is up here at 50. So let's take a look at that and let's look at a name. Let's say Amazon, for example. It's a good one to look at. And you're going to be like, I don't want to touch this thing because of the price. But let's just look at the weekly options. So right now, the options market hasn't opened. Look at the IV. It's higher than it was before earnings, right? So we have huge money here at this point, at this point in these IV. So if the market bounces, this IV is going to drain. This thing will drain 25%, which will half the price of those options. So you better be going up as fast as you're coming down. So if you don't have the theta to work with it, right? So if you're in, let's just open this up. Let's say I don't want to be that rich and I go on, I'm going to play options on calls on this thing and I'm going to go with the, come on, the 1500s where we're the all-time high at $3. You have an 8 delta. You have a 0.139 rate of decay on these on weeklies. And if that decay IV hits that 50%, you're going to drain these down faster than you can get into them. So that's why I'm saying be careful with them. Look at the IV. Not that I'm aware of on that, Chris. So let's look else. Yep. Some bups on out of the money. What I would also recommend, if you're comfortable with it, Wayne, is bull put spreads on these things. If you're comfortable playing with that, I would definitely look to do some bull put spreads on that to take advantage of the volatility here, right? And you have protection, so you can't get your account wiped out. So you're asking me about Amazon. If the market goes down, you can try it. Again, just look at the cost of the options right now, Samo. So if you're comfortable playing with that jacked up IV and those rates, yep. If the market's going to go down, I think eventually Amazon's going to take a bigger hit than it has. So I agree with you there. So what else can I tell you? So just be careful. So like and one of the things you'll look for is you'll see a change in the flow. I mean, yesterday, when we were watching the flow yesterday, it was bullish, early morning, and then everything all of a sudden went quiet. And we started getting that concerned feeling. Like they suddenly stopped buying, right? So yeah, so that's why I'm saying be careful. Now, the other thing you can do is you look at names like Twitter, who reports this week. So let's just bring this up because this is something I was looking at after I got off the call. So Twitter reports this week, the options are already jacked way up. Look at the IV on these things for this week. 1st January of 2019, 50% versus 170%. Right. So, take a look at this stuff. Be careful with it. You're going to see some massive IG jack. It wasn't this high. Tesla, I cannot imagine where the IV is on these things at this point. They're less. That's amazing to me. Tesla has less IV than Twitter does today. $18 move is what they're expecting there. Disney reports tonight. So at this point, you just kind of have to look at this market and you have to decide how comfortable you are and what you want to do. We all took a hit. My hit wasn't anything horrible. The one dumb thing I did is I sold my hedge yesterday. This morning, that hedge would have been through the roof. I would be up massive amounts of money. But I thought yesterday I didn't want to be sitting in it if we were going to bounce there. And I thought we were. The other thing is you can play these names with common. So, pick names you like. Micron got an upgrade this morning and is holding in. Look at the difference. Play it with common today. If you like that one, AMD looks good, you can try that. We have NVIDIA earnings this week. I'm just looking at OSTK. You got to be real careful with this name here, but this thing is already up 4 off the lows this morning into this. What's there some XNet? Keep an eye on this one. I know it's beat up. I know I'm hurt in it, but they raised guidance through the roof yesterday by more than 50%. This name, they should come back to it at some point here. Keep an eye on it. It doesn't have to be first one in there, but the constant call buying. What's little HMNY doing here, which is they keep buying calls on this thing every day. All right, so it's down, got beat up, finally took a hit last night, finally got that hit. We'll see if that comes back. Some other names you can play. Smaller names. I'm trying to think of some smaller names that are easier to play. Obviously, I wouldn't touch GE. Ford is getting smacked. How hard is it getting smacked? I don't know if I'd want to touch this one here. It's definitely in a place to where it can bounce off of. And I think that's what you have to look at. A lot of the stuff here could bounce. Credit Suisse AG reports event acceleration of XIV ETNs. Yeah, we know that already. So what are they going to tell? I don't understand what they're going with this. We already know that. That's just kind of dumb. Okay. What else today? Names like CAT have been strong. You know, this is an area. Right now it's holding the 100-day. Something you can go and take a look at if they want to come back for these. Right? Doesn't have as much volatility in it as some of the other names, but they're jacked up here, just looking at some of the IV. So everything's jacked. So you got to pick what you want to play and what you want to be in. If you're looking to start long-term positions, I'd wait for a definitive reversal candle and that feeling of things are better. Like, you know, if you're looking to really go long here and say, I want to start some long-term January Apple positions or something like that, I would try to give it a little time. I wouldn't be the first one out of the gate. If you're comfortable today scalping, today's a day to scalp. I'd be careful taking big type swings here at this point, unless we see the market just completely change character. And the one thing I want to point out, as quick as we sold off down here, right, as fast as vicious as this was, we can bounce back just as fast. And, you know, so the one nice thing I'm going to point out to you guys is usually this type of correction in the market, a 10% takes a month plus. We did it in 3 days. In 3 days, we did the work of a month in this market, right? We've taken from zero correction all the way past 10%. The SPX is, you know, hit the 10% line, which was down here. We bounced back above it, right? But we hit it. Did we? No, just missed. Just missed it. Close enough. Huh. So, you know, as fast as these things go down, they can bounce back. And there's your 200-day on the SPX. There's some weird prints going on tonight here at this point. No, the SPX is not open. That's why we're not seeing it. Yeah, the SPX did hit it. It will hit it on the open. It will have gone through. For whatever reason, TOS is not updating the SPX overnight. I have to go take a look at why not. I'm like, something doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, we've had this. We're done. Pick what you like here. Do you think they want to stay with tech names? Look at the ones that have acted the best. Be aware with Netflix, it's in a gap, right? Netflix is in its gap here. It fell into it overnight. It's below the 21-day, and it's just bounced back above it. We hit 945, right? So it came right into the 21-day here, bounced off of it, into the gap. Now, does it hold here and go? It might not fill this thing at this point. But just be aware, if the markets get really weak and this thing wants, and they want to dump, this is a name that could come down and quickly fill this gap. It's got a void here. There's just nothing here. There's a big, big void here because this was all-time highs. VIX is still giving no prints here, which is just bizarre. I keep looking on my side chart. You guys have any other questions, things you'd like to talk about, go over at this point? It's a good time to bring it up. Otherwise, you know, do what you feel you're comfortable with today. You know, don't try to be a hero. Take it easy. This is not normal. This is a panic market. So it's not going to act normally. It's going to move wildly in both directions. We could definitely reverse off of here, and we'll go from there. And if we don't, we'll take it one day at a time right now. Okay, everybody. I hope you're all well. I hope you guys are all doing well. By the way, if you're sleeping at night, you're doing okay. So that's a good indication. If you can't sleep at night, then you have some issues, right? Then you probably have too much on. You got core untrapped the wrong way. So with that said, I will catch you guys in the service at 9:30 for the open in 15 minutes. And everybody else, I hope you have a great day. You want to join me, please? It's $25 a month. You get all this insight every day, and you get to hear me ad nauseum. But today really is just about helping everybody here and seeing what we do. So everybody have a good one, and I'll catch you in a bit.